Welcome to Motherhood. I'm Dr. Christina Hibbert, here to help you overcome, to become, and to flourish in this adventurous experience we call motherhood. And today's show, we're going to be focusing on adventure in motherhood. What does it mean? What does it mean to you? And how can we put more adventure into our lives, both as a family and in our relationships with our spouse or our significant other, but also individually as women, as mothers, and what can staying adventurous do for us? So I hope you'll stick around as we talk about adventure today. This whole topic was actually inspired by this past week, where I spent a week at the Zion Ponderosa Women's Adventure Retreat. And it was pretty amazing. We did some pretty incredible activities, and I met some amazing people, and it's just really opened my eyes to the importance of what keeping some adventure in our lives can do for us as women, yes, but also especially as moms. So we're going to be hearing from several different guests today. A couple of the participants from the retreat are going to talk with us about their thoughts and experiences, as well as the director, Mandy Woodhouse. She's going to be with us today as our main guest. And you can find out more about the retreat at Zion Ponderosa at zionponderosa.com/retreat. We'll hear a lot more about that later, and trust me, you're going to want to check it out. But before we get started, I want to thank you for joining us here each week on Motherhood to grow with us, as I like to say, through motherhood instead of just going through it, and to join us online as well through social media. Hopefully you're already connected with me there on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and pretty much everywhere you are, I'm there too. Also, I hope you've joined us on our Facebook group at Growing Through Motherhood. Remember, you can just ask to be added to that group, Growing Through Motherhood, and we'd love to have you. And also on my website at drchristinahibbert.com, you can find a blog post related to today's topic on how to keep the adventure alive in your life, and also lots of other free resources on all the things we talk about here on Motherhood, as well as links to my books, This Is How We Grow, Who Am I Without You, and 8 Keys to Mental Health Through Exercise. And as we talk about adventure today and physical adventure, well, that's definitely related to, you'll see some of the benefits actually come out in what everybody's going to be talking about today. Now, before we get going, I want to do my Dr. Christie's Simple Solutions segment, and I am thrilled to introduce you to someone that I think is wonderful and his wonderful program. And the reason why I'm doing this on today's show is because it is a different kind of adventure. And you'll see what I mean here as we talk to Thomas Byers.
And that is Thomas Byers Guitar Studio's online e-correspondence courses. And these are amazing courses. And first I'm going to welcome Thomas Byers of the studio to the show. Thomas, thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. And I have to tell all the people that we know each other because Thomas Byers, his guitar studio is actually here in Flagstaff. And my kids have almost all of them have taken guitar from him through our school and some in the private studio as well. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Thomas. He's an amazing guitar instructor. And so I am so excited that you've taken all this online so that everybody else gets to share in your brilliance besides just we folks here in Flagstaff.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I can't say enough good things. So let me tell you guys about Thomas before I let him tell you a little bit about the new program here. So he established his guitar studio in 2011 here in Flagstaff, and it's really grown from, a small music shop into a bigger authority in guitar education. And not only that, but his competitions he's been top ranked in these competitions, and also won a Grammy for his school program in 2014, which is amazing. That was really exciting.
It was really exciting.
It was really exciting. I mean, that's how good he is as a teacher, and he can help these students just get incredibly good and really fast. And so now he started some video lessons on his site because he wants to have guitar for all, so everybody can participate. And again, you can find out more about this on Thomas Byers, Byers guitar.com, thomasbyersguitar.com. But I'm going to let Thomas tell you a little bit more about these online lessons in this program that you've started. So tell the moms out there what they might want to hear about these programs and what it might do for them and their families.
Sure, sure. So I want to start first by kind of telling you the impetus for all of this,
Yeah.
and that is because I had this realization that learning is the closest thing to magic that I could think of,
Yeah.
and that is what I want to do in my life is be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also play guitar and love teaching guitar, so I decided I need to marry the two of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been teaching privately for a long time, but always just me and another student or me and many students. And I've been invited to do some guest conducting around the country, and that exposure to a bunch of new students has been an amazing ride.
Mm-hmm.
So about 2 years ago, we were like, you know what? We got to reach more people. So I partnered up with a local business incubator, and over the past 18 months, we've been filming a step-by-step online curriculum for anyone who wants to pursue the guitar, which there's a lot of people out there who want to learn the guitar. It is an adventure, if you will.
Yes,
and I think,
that's right.
Dr. Hibbert, don't you play the guitar?
Well, a little bit. And see, I went to some lessons with Thomas, and then I stopped going, not because of him, because of me. So that's why I'm excited about his online curriculum, because I think I can fit it in if I don't have to go somewhere.
And that's the point. We do want Guitar for All, and it's affordable inside our learning management dashboard, if you will. You have the opportunity to ask me. You'll be talking to me any question you have about the curriculum, and moreover, this is perfect for parents who really want some time to themselves or want something at night or early in the morning to do, and to guide your children along with it. You could do it together. In fact, we have a new subscriber who's doing it with their son in Aurora, Colorado. So that's going to be a fun adventure. I love the word adventure. It's an adventure.
Yeah,
so
learning guitar as a family together. I love that idea.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. And you can. And another thing about it is we focus the curriculum all on rote, which means just like how a child learns language, they don't learn to read first. They don't learn to spell first. They learn by imitating and exploring that kind of arena where they hear something and they experiment with it and they learn in that way. That's how we all learned.
Mm-hmm.
That's a common thing in music, but I wanted to bring that online. So the fact is that you don't learn to read music. What you learn to do is how to play the guitar with really easy and sound technique. You learn how to play beautifully, and you learn it all from me. You're going to look at this face the whole time. There's different camera angles to demonstrate every single thing you're going to need to know. So there's three courses, three broader courses. There's beginning, intermediate, and advanced. Each of those are broken up into two sub-courses. So beginning 1-2, intermediate 1-2, advanced 1-2. And by the end of it, you will be so confident in yourself as a performer and an artist, and you'll have such easy technique again that you can explore any genre that you're interested in. And we support everything with PDF documents too. So you'll get the visual of me doing everything, and then we have supporting documents with almost every single video to reinforce everything that I'm talking about in the curriculum.
Wow.
We also have free stuff on there. We have blogs. We're going to be adding stuff about every 3 months or so based on user feedback and also just based on what we think our users would find useful. So, always check back. It'll be growing. And those who subscribe will be the first to know what's going on, of course. Of course.
That's right. And so that's why you definitely want to subscribe, so that you can get all this free stuff and this good stuff and this great education. And I love that you're the one that's sitting there teaching, because again, everybody, I'm telling you, Thomas is an amazing teacher. I mean, he's not only an amazing guitarist, but he's really an incredible teacher. My kids love him. We thought he was leaving the school next year, but he's not. And so my son, who's going to be a senior, is going to stay in guitar one more year, because yay, Mr. Byers is going to stay.
I think I've had Colton since he was in the seventh grade.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I know, and he has become amazing. I still look at all my kids, I'm like, you are all so much better than I am. I wish I were in school, so I would have been taking classes all these years, but now I can do it online.
Yes, yeah. And so, like I said, Guitar for All, we want to reach as many people as possible, getting them playing beautiful music and confidently, like the artists everyone has inside of them. That's what we're going to pull out of you.
That's right. We have that potential, and that's the adventure of you letting your creativity out and learning a new skill or improving a skill you might already know. Right?
Absolutely.
Oh, I
Absolutely.
love it. And I love your enthusiasm. And the website is beautiful, everybody. So go check it out at Thomas Byers, Byers guitar, thomasbyersguitar.com. And there's some free videos on there. You can get started right away. You can check it out and learn all about the program. You can subscribe and yeah, sign yourself up, sign your family up. I love that. Make a family night where, hey, we're going to learn guitar together.
Heck yeah, on your own schedule, whenever you want. I should say you need an internet connection. That's the big thing. You need. This is all through the online, so there you go.
So internet you need Wi-Fi or internet somehow, but otherwise, you're totally the boss of when you do it. So you can do it in the middle of the night or whenever you want, right?
Exactly.
You can't
wake
sleep?
your kids up at 4 a.m. and say, "Here's the adventure, kids. We're gonna work out.
We're learning guitar today. We're gonna exercise. Yeah, exercise. That's right. Nice plug for exercise. Work out, learn guitar, be creative, and let our best self shine. Right?
Yeah, hey, I love that. Can I use that?
Please.
Let our best show. Well, I messed it up, but what Dr. Hibbert said.
I love it. So yes, everybody, I can't say enough good things, obviously. Go check it out today, thomasbyersguitar.com. Thomas, thank you so much for being on Motherhood today and helping all of us learn more. Oh, well, and we'll have you back sometime, maybe to talk about the beauty of music in life and how that can help us too. Wouldn't that be fun?
We'll have to make it a really long segment.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean, like a full show. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Hey, no, thank you. I appreciate it. And good luck to everything you're doing too, sister. You're inspiring if you don't know it already.
Thank you.
Indeed.
I appreciate it. Mutual feeling here.
Isn't Thomas wonderful? I love having him on the show. He's so fun and such a delight. I hope you'll check that out. Now back to our main topic, which of course we can have adventure through music, and I love music. I like songwriting, and to me it's an adventure to write a new song and figure out how to sing it and play it for somebody. That's pretty scary and adventurous. It pushes me in new ways. But there's so many other kinds of adventure, and as I was saying earlier, this past week I got to go to the Zion Ponderosa Women's Adventure Retreat. Now, this is a retreat where it was 10 women, and we got to go and stay in these beautiful cabins at the Zion Ponderosa Ranch Resort, which is right outside of Zion National Park in Utah, in southern Utah. Beautiful country, amazing. We went hiking in Zion's National Park. Some of us climbed Angel's Landing, which is an amazing hike. We went to Observation Point, which overlooks the whole thing. We went horseback riding, zip lining, ATV riding. We rode in Rangers, shooting guns. Let's see what else. Rock climbing. Yeah, we took a rappelling lesson because on Friday we went canyoneering, which meant hiking through little slot canyons and in these little crevices and then rappelling down the ones that you can't actually climb down. And that was an all-day adventure that was amazing. We also took a helicopter tour over Zion. And I mean, really, we went jogging and we had all kinds of weather that made it really amazing. We had snow and some rain and some hail and some fog, but we had beautiful sunshine. It was such an adventure. So when I'm thinking, this really got me thinking about this topic because, we don't often pause to put this kind of adventure into our life, do we? As moms, we get busy, we get overwhelmed, we feel like we don't have time. And I remember when my kids were little, I didn't go out on adventure retreats like this. In fact, this is the first adventure retreat I've ever done. And especially going by myself for a week with women I don't know. So when they were younger, I was home a lot. But I've learned that, and I would tell myself, no, I can't do that. No, I can't go here. No, I can't go to even lunch with my friends. Because I felt like there was too much to do at home. And I think we feel guilty. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. But I think one thing that we need to realize as moms is the importance of ditching that guilt, of overcoming it by just forcing ourselves to do something new. We talk a lot about personal growth, and this is just personal growth at that next level, which is really starting something totally new. And it could mean physical adventure, as we'll talk about today, or as we'll also talk about, it can mean all different kinds of adventures. And the importance is to ask yourself, what am I doing that's adventurous in my life? Do I make time and room for adventure in my life? Or do I feel like it's not important? Or do I feel like I don't have time? Or it's just a luxury I can't afford? Think about that for yourself. Ask yourself those questions as we get started talking here. Now, you're going to hear a lot more about this adventure that we all went on and with some of the participants, and we're going to talk about some of those experiences. But hopefully you're also going to learn a lot of what we all have learned through this experience and some tips and tools to help you overcome the guilt, or to help you get out the door and try something new, or stay home and try something new, right? Just like Thomas was talking about, from the comfort of your own home, you could learn to play an instrument. You can learn so much with online services now, right? So there's all kinds of adventure we can go on. So first we're going to hear from Sam, who is one of the participants. She is a young 25-year-old wonderful gal who was taking her first adventure. So, again, for all ages and stages. Then we're going to hear from Jen and Heather, who are both moms, and a little bit about what they've learned through this experience of pushing themselves out the door, trying some things that were new. And we're also going to hear from Mark, who is a father and a husband, and he's going to talk a little bit about how he as a man views adventure in motherhood and why he thinks it's important too, because it's important for us to get our significant other on board if we want to try new things, right? And if we can do it together, all the better. And finally, we're going to hear from Mandy Woodhouse for the last little part of our show. She is the director of the Women's Retreat, and we're going to talk, and she's also just an adventurous person. That's just how she is. So we're going to talk a little bit more at length about adventure and motherhood and what we can do to help ourselves put more of that into our lives. So stick around, listen in, and we're going to start off with Sam. I have with me Sam, or Samantha, from our Women's Adventure Retreat here at Zion Ponderosa. Sam, what does adventure mean to you in your life?
Well, I'm starting to figure that out now, since this is my first trip ever on a plane by myself, away from all my family and friends, so I'm starting to figure that out. Definitely being out of my comfort zone, being around strangers, doing a bunch of things for the first time.
So that's kind of what brought you on this adventure trip, right? You're 25 years old. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you wanted to try to put a little bit more adventure in your life, right?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't gone anywhere. I want to do so many things. I'm still young enough. I'm home. I'm not married. I don't have kids. So why not start exploring?
Yeah. So being here this week, trying all these different things, how has that kind of impacted you, would you say?
Well, makes me know I'm capable of a lot more than I thought. And it's taught me how to trust myself and trust others and not be so closed and feel sheltered, and to literally just open up to the world.
So what's been the best part for you of trying some new things this week, let's say?
That I'm not the only one. That everyone wants to, and everyone helps out and supports each other, and it's been good.
So not just the adventure part, but also the connection part.
Yeah, the connection, and it makes everything better. Like, the adventure is always great, but having that stability to back you up with people that you just meet, that makes it worth it a lot more.
Bond you pretty quickly, huh?
Very. In our tight quarters.
That's right. That's awesome. Okay, perfect. All right, and now I'm with Jen Mitchell, who is a blogger at comebackmama.com. And she's also a mom to 2 kids, ages 10 and 13.
You got it.
Awesome. Boy and a girl. And so, Jen, tell us a little bit about why you think it's important for moms to keep some adventure in their life.
I think moms get so caught up in pleasing everyone else and taking care of everyone else that we fall to the bottom of our own priority list. And it's so important to just always keep adventuring in your life. And obviously we have plenty of adventures with our family, with our kids. But to have some of those solo adventures where we're really challenging ourselves and pushing our limits and maybe going outside our comfort zone, I just think that's so important for personal growth and confidence building.
So how would you define adventure then? Like, what would that mean to you?
Oh gosh, I think in a sense it's like learning something new, exploring a new place. I think there's so many different ways to be adventurous, you know. For me, it probably is exploring places and trying new things.
Yeah, but it can mean so many different things. I like that you kind of broaden definition.
Yeah, because I think you can be totally adventurous in your learning, like people who go back to school.
Yeah.
Or, I became a personal trainer for a while. So,
Yeah.
I think I like to definitely do that. You learn something new every day. I really like to never stop.
Yeah, I love that too. So you've been here at the Zion Ponderosa Women's Retreat with us all week. So what has this experience done for you? How has it impacted you personally, would you say?
I think it's just reminded me that I can do this, meaning just totally solo, because it's been a while since I've done that. Because I think it was really before kids that I did some of this solo travel. Couple different times, joined different tour groups in Australia, New Zealand, and actually around this area, but that's going back, like 17 years ago. So
this is new for you since being a mom to go off on your own and have an adventure without your kids.
Right, and for it to especially be with women that I don't know.
Yeah.
Which I think is just always so fascinating.
Right, because you came by yourself, as did I.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said for that, like, because, women can get really caught up in the cattiness of the women that they know. Sometimes the women from their school, the women from their church, the women for whatever, there can be a little bit of that, the rumor mill and the gossip and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I think what's really neat about meeting brand new people and you're building this brand new relationship and it just feels so fresh and so new and it's been great.
Yeah, I think that's great. And what would you say to other moms who might be listening and thinking, well, sure, that sounds great, but I don't know if I could leave my kids, or, that sounds a little too adventurous for me to go off by myself on a trip or something. What would you say to those moms?
Oh, gosh, I think it's like you just have to do it. It's kind of like, well, especially if you're a mom who's had more than one kid, and it's like, well, childbirth, got to do it again.
It's true. Yes.
It's a little bit like ripping off the Band-Aid. You got to do it because I think because sometimes too, when people make that decision about whether or not to have kids, like you're never going to be ready.
Yeah.
And so you may never truly feel 100% ready to go on a solo adventure. And you got to do it.
Yeah.
And then you will thank yourself for it, because as the saying goes, you're never going to regret the things that you actually tried. You're going to regret what you didn't do.
Wonderful advice. Great. Thank you so much, Jen.
You're very welcome.
All right. So I'm sitting here with Heather Erkiaga she is a blog editor with Trek Aroo. That's TrekAroo.com. So you guys should check that out. Heather's also a mom to two little ones, 3 and 6 years old, right?
That's right.
2 little boys. So Heather, tell me a little bit about what you think about why it's important for we as moms to keep some adventure in our life.
That is such a good question. I think as moms, sometimes we can get caught up in the mundane. We get caught up in the tasks of the day and the checklists that we have to do. And it's nice to remember that we have another side to us, that we can be spontaneous, that we can breathe fresh air, and that can get a new perspective on life.
Yes.
I think it's important for us to remember that we still need to challenge ourselves. I think a lot of times we can get stuck in ruts, and then those ruts get bigger and bigger and bigger, and we can get bored or start to feel a little bit more trapped in our roles as moms and forget that we're growing as people too, and that we still have more to offer and have more to learn. And if we don't allow ourselves to adventure or to put ourselves in a different position, then we're going to still be stuck.
Yeah, I like that. It's sort of like it's part of our growth experience as moms, and as we do that, we also model that for our children.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it kind of helps us remember who we are too.
Right. I mean, what I want for my boys most is for them, well, not most, but one of the things that I'd like for my boys is for them to be lifelong learners and to be excited about whatever new challenge or new experience is coming their way.
Yeah.
And so for me, whether it's going out on a day trip with them by myself, someplace that we haven't gone before, and having that adventure of someplace new together, or it's me doing a retreat like this where I'm on my own adventuring and out of my comfort zone.
Right.
It just continues to instill in them one of those values of, no, you're a lifelong learner and life continues. You don't just become and then
And then that's
B
it.
flat. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So what does adventure mean? How would you define adventure then?
Well, I guess as we've been talking, I guess I define it as anything that is different from your everyday life. So for some people that could be something that's more quiet, like learning a skill that you could do at home, or a creative outlet like, knitting or drawing or writing or anything like that.
Right.
Or it's going outside and being adventurous and being physically adventurous or challenging yourselves in those ways.
Right.
Kind of depends.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on you and your personality and what you need.
Yeah.
So tell me so you've been here with me at this retreat all week, and how has this impacted you? Like, what can you take away from this experience of trying? And then we did a lot of physical adventure, but
We did.
Yeah.
We did a lot of physical adventure, but there's definitely some mental toughness behind those adventures too.
That's right.
Because I feel like every physical adventure that we did, there was a mental component of at some point you want to be done with whatever the adventure was. And so you get the choice whether you're going to stop at that point or whether you feel comfortable continuing to push it. And I think that works in real life too.
Yeah.
But it's been one of the things that I think that I loved about this retreat is that it had both. The other thing that was really positive as far as adventuring is that we had women here of all different ages, of all different generations, all different life experiences, and no matter what their physical ability or their desires were as far as how much they wanted to adventure or get out of there, we all got to that point of needing to overcome something and needing to come alongside. Women sometimes were really good at comparing ourselves to each other instead of coming alongside of each other on this road. And so I think that this week was great to remind me that it's not a competition. It's really about coming alongside of people.
That's right. So we're each individually overcoming our own challenges, and then you're
the
supporting
same
each other.
time. Yes.
Because everybody's challenges are different.
Exactly.
That's been interesting, don't you think, to see how some people are like really great at this, but this is what they're nervous about, and everybody's had their thing.
Exactly.
Things.
Right. They had their thing that they've been super excited about and really great at, and then on the other spectrum, something that really was a challenge for them, and we got to be there and watch them do both of those things. Have successes because it's something that they're amazing at, and they were so excited to do it because they knew that they were good. And then those moments of, oh, I'm watching this person struggle and look at how they're overcoming that.
Yes.
Yeah, huge. Really, really good.
Yeah. So I love that. So, okay. All right. And I have with me here now Mark Wade, who is the marketing director for Zion Ponderosa Ranch Resort. Mark, thank you for joining me here on Motherhood.
It's a pleasure to join you.
Well, I'm excited to have you because I want to get your perspective. Mark is a husband and a father to 4 kids, ages 18 to 28. So, Mark, what would you say is why do you think it's important for all of us, but especially for mothers, to keep some sense of adventure in their lives?
Well, if you're talking about how it's really important to a mother, one of the things I've noticed, and now my children are, as you said, 18 to 28, we love to sit around as a family when we get together, and sometimes we come right here to Zion Ponderosa, as a matter of fact, ourselves as a family. Oh, nice. But we'll sit around and we'll talk about things that we've done together in the past. And I would say for the mother, my wife, there's nothing better than to sit and watch her children talk about all these things that they've done together, because everything that they've done together in this regard has usually been a good experience, and it's brought them together. And a mom just seems to be very satisfied to have that kind of an experience of sitting around listening to people reminisce about the good things they've done together. And it just so happens in our family that it centers a lot around the outdoors. Since they were young, we've been taking them hiking and out and biking on paved paths, and even mountain biking recently is something we've picked up with some of the family, rappelling a time or two with some of them. it is something that I didn't know if they'd like the outdoors like I do, but as they did it when they were young, now almost every single one of them is very, very excited about being in the outdoors, and they want mom to be with them. And so even as she might be, let's say that she's getting to a point in her life where she's saying, I don't want to go hike a long ways.
Right.
They'll still try to bring her along. And she's always happy when she gets out with them and actually goes and does what they have asked her to do. Maybe she wouldn't do it on her own. Maybe she wouldn't, maybe either one of us would go and do some of those adventurous things at this point. But the kids are getting us out there.
Right. I love that. And you're talking about making family connections and memories as you get out and do these new things together.
Yes. Yes. I'm trying to think of some of the things that we've done recently together. We went into a canyon not far from here not too long ago as a family, and went into a place that's just is so spectacular. They're still talking about it, and they pull the pictures up. And of course, with the social media we have today, the albums that are shared on Facebook and Instagram and other methods, you can relive those things very easily and share those annual anniversaries of when you went out and did that thing together.
Right.
And I would just have to say that my wife in particular just gets a lot of satisfaction out of reliving some of those things.
And I liked how you brought up seeing your children do it and doing it together as a family. And you are a pretty adventurous guy, I would say. We just went rappelling today, everybody. And Mark was way ahead of us and taking pictures and climbing cliffs and rappelling off of them like no problem. So obviously that's been a big part of your life. Now you've also been involved with this women's adventure retreat here at Zion Ponderosa for quite a while, it sounds like. And what have you seen, how it's impacted the lives of women who've come here? I mean, women of all ages and stages and walks of life have come through here pretty much, right? So
one of the people that was in your group today that's a little older than you said to me she wasn't sure that she could keep up with you and some of the other younger set. And she was a little worried about whether or not she could do it, and she did. And she said, I learned some things about myself. I learned that I can still do some of these things. And we didn't do anything that was over the top, did we?
Right, no. Well, I was hanging upside down at one point, but that was my fault. Nobody else's fault. But no, we did not do anything.
And you were safely hanging.
I was safely, I want to say that, safely hanging of my own free will. Okay, there you go.
And I happen to know that you zip-lined upside down. Is that true?
I did, and I did that on purpose too. So there you go.
There you go. Well, the bottom line is that the things that we do with this women's retreat are not, they're not set up to tax you. They're set up to embolden you, to make you stronger, to make you realize a couple of things. I think one is to appreciate the great outdoors like we do. You come out here and you have time to reflect. You have time to think. You have time to just absorb what is real about this world we live in. And I think it does things for you. And then you come and you do some things that are a little bit challenging, not over the top, but a little bit challenging, and you realize you can still do those things, and it makes you, it's like my wife sitting around watching the kids and seeing and being satisfied about that experience. Here's all of us being satisfied tonight about what we did today.
Right. Well, I really appreciate it, and thanks for inviting me on the trip.
Pleasure to spend some time with you.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right, so today with me I have Mandy Woodhouse, who is the director of the Women's Retreat for Zion Ponderosa. Yep. Is that basically what you're called?
Yes.
Okay. She's also a mom of 3 girls, and they are, how old?
8, 6, and 4.
8, 6, and 4.
Yes.
So she's in the thick of it, just like the rest of us. And she also works as she's a fitness trainer or personal trainer for a residential treatment center.
Yes.
Working with teenage girls.
Yep.
Yeah. And you can find out more about the retreat we've been talking about at zionponderosa.com/retreat.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So Mandy's here today because I find you to be an adventurous person, obviously. You obviously plan and put together these women's retreats up here.
Yes.
And so what does it mean to you to be adventurous? Like how would you define that or describe that?
Adventurous to me means trying new things, even if they scare you, for the thrill of being empowered by trying new things. I think that's what I think of when I think of adventure, is getting out there and doing things that maybe you're a little uncomfortable with, but are willing to try.
Gotcha.
Right, so pushing yourself in any way, shape, or form.
Yes.
But you're pretty physically adventurous. I mean,
Yes.
you are an outdoors person. You are a runner.
Yes.
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 You grew up
All
with
of those
this?
things.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's one way that you like to experience adventure. But
Yes.
but what you're saying, how you're defining it, could be really in any realm that we push ourselves, right?
Yes, absolutely. Whether it be maybe going to a conference that is a little scary or something, or reaching out to a therapist, or all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what led you to develop a retreat like this for women? Why did you feel like women would want to come and do an adventure retreat?
Right. I think it started, at first we were thinking of doing something more along the lines of weight loss, but as we came up here and started seeing the location we're at, it felt better to do something a little more, I don't know, adventurous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to describe it. Women would come up, and for some reason we had one group and it was all women, and we hadn't planned it to just be women, but that's what happened. And it was so much fun, and everyone opened up so much, and we grew together that we decided at that point that it should only be women, because women are so good at helping each other when they get in these kinds of positions. Usually there's so much competing going on, and we didn't want that. We wanted it to be where you help each other and you grow together and you form these great friendships and bonds, and that's what happened in that fluke retreat we had set up, and we liked it so much that we decided to go from there. And for me, working with all of these ladies and seeing us grow together and me forming friendships and lasting relationships with them is the best part of my job. So.
Yeah, because you've been able to meet all kinds of women and do this several times now.
Yes.
And so what have you seen, how have you seen these kinds of adventures, this kind of retreat where you're actually going out and physically pushing yourself, but also you're socially kind of pushing yourself by being with new people?
Right.
How have you seen that impact some of the women that have come through? Because we talked about this week, how it wouldn't be the same if it were men and women, and it wouldn't be the same if it were all men either.
Yes,
So
yes.
first of all, I guess what's unique about having the women come and do these things together? I think you kind of touched on that just now, but also what have you seen them take away from it?
Right. I've had people come who have had really hard lives, or a few years, and they come up here and they're able to forget about those things and laugh and grow because they're trying things that are really hard for them. And when you do that, you just feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're laughing with other women and laughing so much you're crying, it helps you realize that even though there's hard things going on in your life, that you can still be good and have fun times, and that's okay. You don't need to feel guilty about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've seen that time and time again. And I think the biggest thing that I think we offer is people learn to push themselves, and it makes them feel good. And I've heard from numerous of the people who come, this is the most amazing thing I've done in my life, or this is the best thing I've done in the last 5 years, or people who have traveled the whole world, that this is the best trip I've ever had because of the relationships that they formed, and I think that's because of what we're doing together. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you bond a lot when you're stuck in mud, hiking, and
hanging upside down on a rope.
Yeah, hanging upside down and someone's saving your life down below. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yes.
We had that experience together.
Yes.
Yes. And so let's shift kind of to moms in particular.
Okay.
Because not everybody that's come on this retreat is a mom,
Right.
but you're a mom,
Yes.
I'm a mom, and that's what this show's all about. So why do you think adventure or keeping adventure alive is important for us as mothers?
Right.
In whatever way do we define that? I mean, not everybody's going to come on an adventure retreat, but
I think there's two ways. If you can't do something like this, then finding adventure with your children is great, because again, you push your children in those limits and you take them out hiking and you show them the world and nature and things like that, and they grow and they get stronger. And the same thing here. If you're able to escape, and it doesn't have to be here, anywhere you can go where you can escape, I think it makes you a better mother. And we talked about that last year with one of my groups. I had a couple of moms with young children as well, and they said this was amazing. It was just what I needed to kind of refill my tank and make me a better mother when I got home. And I think that's the takeaway for me, is getting up, doing things you're not comfortable with. As mothers, we get in these ruts where we just kind of go, but escaping, I think, makes us a better mother. And it's okay to take time for yourself. I think it's vital to be a good mom, is to make sure you take care of yourself too, so that you can be a better mother for your children.
No, I totally agree. And I'm a huge fan of time alone and taking time for yourself or time with friends or whatever you need to be you.
Yes.
Because I think we lose ourselves, like our individual selves sometimes in that role of being a mom. You
Yes.
forget who you are.
Yes.
Like here the first day as I was ziplining upside down in the snow, I was at the end of the zip line, I was like, oh yeah, I am fun and adventurous. I really kind of am. I push my limits. I like to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
But you don't remember that when you're not doing those
Yes.
kinds of things, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So what would you say, because this is a big issue, and I love hearing that you've had some moms who've made themselves kind of get out the door and come, because that's sometimes the hardest part, is
Yes.
to just go. And you don't have to go for a week or
Yeah.
whatever, but just to do whatever you need for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are some listening out there right now, and you know who you are, that are thinking, well, I can't do that. You know, my kids need me too much. It's impossible
Yeah.
to leave my kids, or and truly there are some situations where maybe there isn't that support where you could leave for a while. But what's your advice for those moms out there who feel like they can't do it or they feel guilty doing that? I mean, that's a biggie, I think.
Right. I think, like we kind of touched on before, is finding ways to do it with your children. If you can't escape them, have them do it with you. And it doesn't have to be...
We all know
can't
what you
get
mean.
away.
I love how you said that. Yeah, we all know what you mean.
If you can't get away, then bring them with you to do something.
Yeah.
Go somewhere different. There's really affordable places to go camping if you don't do that regularly, or hiking. And just, I think no matter what, you'll get better relationships and stronger bonds with your children, which is great. We could all use more of that. And to me, that would be the way to work through the obstacle. If you can't get away on your own, then do it with them. So.
Right. Well, and I loved hearing you talk about, because the outdoors and hiking and nature is such a part of your life, how you've already instilled that in your children at such a young age.
Yes.
You were saying that your four-year-old even is already used to hiking, and
Yes.
she keep
like,
up.
up to like 5 miles. Yeah.
That's pretty good, you know, and not everybody, you know, so we also pass on some of those things that we love onto our children when we do that.
Definitely.
Because I'm thinking, I love to speak. And so one thing that I do for myself is when I can, I go out and I travel and I get to meet people and speak at conferences and things. But one year I took my daughter with me, who was 11 at the time, and she got to come and hear me speak to this group it was actually a group of, from the Miss Foundation, of all families who had lost a child.
Right.
And so she got to see me do that, and then I was doing a book signing, and she got to help with that, and she got to hear people talk with me and me talk with people. And at the end of the day, she said, Mom, you're really important. I'm glad you go and do what you do. Because she was having a really hard time when I would leave. You know, she didn't understand. But even that was sort of an adventurous thing to have her come and do and see, and it kind of pushed her limits as well and brought us closer together.
Absolutely.
So there's all different ways that we can do this for everybody out there listening. You don't have to be outdoorsy. I'm thinking, even if you're in the city, I've had friends who, just like, let's take our kids on a bus ride for the day or something if we've never done that, or let's go to a museum or anything like that.
Yes, absolutely.
So, okay, so let's say that, and I really appreciate your point about taking our kids with us and being adventurous together.
Yes.
But for those of us who want to, those listening who are thinking, I really want to do something on my own, because at this adventure retreat, it's been really interesting because there were several of us, including myself, who were just here by ourselves.
Yes.
There were a couple that were together. There were, a group of 3 and a group of 2, and then everybody else was on their own.
Yes.
And I think most people listening would probably think, oh, I couldn't imagine going on a trip like that by myself, you know? And I'd feel guilty leaving my kids, and I feel, whatever. So, I don't know, what advice do you have for those people who really think they want to come, but maybe just might have a hard time pushing themselves out the door?
Right. Just do it. You have to do it. We're introverts, both of us. We've talked about that. Mm-hmm. So it is hard. But I know I'm going to keep in touch with you. Mm-hmm. I know I'm going to keep in touch with a lot of the people who are here. It's another one of it's an adventure. It's thrilling to go on your own and do something, and meet people that you would never meet and that don't know your past and your history or anything about you. And it's a fresh slate. And to me, that's exciting to even think about. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah, and I think we have to let go of the guilt. I think that's the hardest part, really.
Yeah.
Has it always been easy for you to leave?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No. It's always, I mean, even this time, you know, I'm like, oh, I feel bad leaving them all just with my husband, and they're probably going to eat out for every meal. But it's so good for my husband. He gets that special time with the kids, and I know they're okay. And even if they eat out for every meal, they're memories that they're going to have with their dad, and I think that's great. So.
No, I agree. And that's a really good point, because it does give them a chance to, like one of the other women here left her children with her mother, who doesn't get to see her kids very much. And so whomever is watching the kids when you go away for a little bit, they get that special time too, which is good.
Both they'll remember, whoever's watching them and the children.
So we've kind of talked about a little bit about, okay, how we can get ourselves out the door and also taking our kids with us. What about as couples?
Right.
That's important, isn't it?
Yes,
don't you think?
Absolutely.
And I think you're good at that, right?
Yes.
You and your husband.
Get away when we can, sometimes with the kids, but yes. It's a balance for all of them. I think you have to be a good mother. You have to work on that part. Then you have to work on you as an individual, and then in your marriage. All of those, if things are good there, I feel like your wellness is higher than it would be otherwise. So working on those three parts separately and together, I think is really important and good. And going out with just your spouse to do something, I think, can be thrilling and exciting. And again, the way all of us have bonded this week, if you did something like this with a spouse, think of how much you bond doing that together and planning an adventure escape somewhere and doing something like that. So,
Right. Pushing ourselves together or trying something new together.
Yeah. Because I think whenever you do anything with people, you bond. And that's why, I mean, this is only a week long, and yet I'm saying goodbye to people and we're getting teary-eyed.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? But it's because you're doing hard things together and you gain these strong relationships. So.
Right. And to me, it's been interesting too, and this applies to any relationship that you have where you're saying like you're doing hard things together, but it's interesting to see how everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses.
Yeah.
You know, like some people might be physically capable of doing a lot, and others are physically having a really hard time.
Yes.
And some people, like myself, might be more socially, having to push myself, because I am an introvert, and I like to just kind of like go be alone then. So I have to go to game night, and I have fun, but I have to make myself do those things,
Yes.
So there's different ways of kind of pushing ourselves too. That's what's been interesting in this kind of setting, where you see some people that, like one of our, Sam, who's, you guys have heard her tell a little bit about why she came on this adventure. She's young and she felt like she really hadn't done much in her life, so she wanted to push herself, so she's like doing that first push. And then there's some of us who are needing a break from our families, and we're here for that reason, and others who are here because they need some healing, and so I think it's important for us also to identify what our needs are, and then be able to kind of push ourselves in those ways, to be adventurous, to keep that alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's easy for us to sit here and say, for everybody listening, it's easier for us to sit here and say, just go on a trip.
Just leave your children, go away, escape.
Right. But it takes a lot of planning and a lot of forethought, and it's not like you're going to do this all the time.
Yeah.
Especially not a big week-long thing, but the daily stuff. So let's talk about sort of the daily adventure that we can try to look for and put into our life. So what would you say for those who are listening? What are some ideas that you have how to keep some daily adventure in their life? Like maybe you're not going to go out hiking every day, but what do you think?
I think as mothers, if we were going to talk in that realm, there's tons of things you could do for adventure. Grab one of your children and say, let's go get ice cream together. I mean, it is. Those mini adventures, it doesn't have to be some grandiose thing. It can be something small like that, or even going and building Legos together in the basement. To me, it's about doing something with people to build those relationships, or doing something that is hard for you. Maybe it's calling up someone you haven't talked to in 5 years, or going for a jog, but just doing something. Getting up and doing something, to me, is big. So
doing something, and sometimes, and really what we're talking about when I don't know, would you say that the line, because we're talking about adventure, there's, kind of having fun,
Yes.
which can be adventurous
Right.
or not. I
Yes.
guess, you can have fun no matter what.
Yes.
But kind of, trying something different or pushing yourself in some way, and we can do that every day. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of even just learning opportunities.
Yeah.
Right? Something where you start to feel uncomfortable in a situation instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at this, or like beating ourselves up, which we tend to do.
Yes.
We can look at it like, okay, here's a new area that I can push myself in. Here's a new thing I can learn. This is something I can learn about myself.
Yeah.
And we can do that every day, no matter what,
Yes. Absolutely.
in every situation, right? So this morning, I was sitting and writing my journal, and that's one thing that I was doing, was trying to think, okay, what have I learned about myself by pushing myself this week? And there were times where I felt totally insecure. And it wasn't any of the physical activity. It was all social stuff for me. Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's really interesting because it really, once I stopped to think about it, I really realized, because I always feel awkward, not awkward, but like I feel like I'm misunderstood by other people a lot. Or not misunderstood, really. I don't know what the word is. I just feel like I just have, I'm complex, okay? So we had one word, I know, we had one word to describe ourselves, and all I could think of was complex, because I'm like, I can't explain myself in one word. And because of a lot of my life experiences and a lot of things, I tend to look for relationships by talking about really deep things, and not everybody's willing to do that right away, especially when you barely know somebody.
Yes.
So then I start feeling like, okay, I'm not connecting with people because we're not talking about deep things. We're laughing, and that's fun, but, I want to know you, know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's been really interesting, because to me, that's one way that I've grown this week, is to just kind of look at myself and re-examine, how I am with people, or, whereas for other people, I think it really was the physical challenge of pushing themselves and seeing that they could do something they didn't think they could do.
Yeah.
So there are many ways that we can keep adventure alive as we're going through motherhood.
Yes.
Now, Mother's Day is coming up.
Yes.
Yes. So, and we talk a lot on this show about self-care.
Okay.
And it just kind of happens that way. We haven't actually done a full episode on self-care.
Yeah.
But I think as moms, it's like the biggest thing, that we put ourselves last and we forget to take care of ourselves. So how would you fit adventure, or keeping the adventure alive in motherhood, into part of self-care? Like, we touched on that a little bit, but let's talk a little about that in honor of Mother's Day.
Okay. I would say, and it's like what we talked about before, that you need to take care of yourself, and adventure will come. It will come if you're taking care of yourself. I feel like you will find opportunities to have adventure in your lives if you take care of yourselves. And as mothers, we so often forget that important piece, and we're so busy taking care of our kids and doing all the things. And I know that they require a lot, and especially when they're younger. I mean, it changes. I don't have teenagers. I know they'll require a lot too. But if we don't take care of ourselves, I feel like adventure will pass us by. And so to me, if we take care of ourselves, things will fall into our laps. And it may not be this big week-long thing. It will be little things, but all of a sudden, I think opportunities will open to us.
Yeah, I think that's true. Now, okay, so here's another question.
Okay.
But how would you define taking care of yourself? That's where I think a lot of us get stuck. Like, yeah, I need to take care of myself, but I really don't know what that means.
Well, I'm a fitness background.
Yes.
So for me, taking care of myself, I teach teenage girls at my treatment center, and when we talk about wellness, there's a lot of aspects we talk about, but physical to me is a big one, and it's one that a lot of people let go on the wayside a little bit.
Yes.
So for me, physical, taking care of ourselves means making sure we're getting exercise. And we kind of talked about, as you get older, if you're not moving, like, it's harder and harder to do things. And so I make it a point to move every day. I don't run every day, but just to get up and move and do things so that I keep my body in check for that. I think besides physical, I think there's like emotional wellness and mental wellness, making sure we're learning about new things and that stuff. There's spiritual wellness. There's all these different aspects that you have to work on all of them, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Pick one thing that you feel you could do better at and work on that one thing. And adventure has many forms to me. We talked a lot about the physical, but like you talked about, there is social adventure that you have found this week, working through that stuff. So I think there's various aspects of self-care. That makes sense.
Yes, very well said. I'm totally with you. You have to take care of yourself in all those different realms.
Yes.
And in order to do that, I think we all, everybody, I hope you're listening, need to stop and pay attention to what we need.
Yep.
Sometimes your self-care really involves getting some sleep. When you've got a newborn, like, it's just shower and sleep,
And feed the baby.
Right, exactly. Feed the baby, take care of responsibilities, and then hopefully get a shower and some sleep. But, and then in different times of life, it might be, you need more social interaction, or maybe you need more alone, quiet time. Maybe you've been too distracted and you don't really know what you want in your life, or that spiritual element, which is so often neglected. And there are so many different ways to do that. So what I'm hearing you say, and I agree with, is that it's unique to each one of us.
Yes.
But it's important for each one of us to identify what areas, what things in each of those areas we need.
Yes.
Because even though it's unique to us, each of those areas is still important.
Yes.
So if you think, oh, well, I don't need the physical self-care.
Yeah, that's...
I'm great at the mental, emotional, but spiritual, physical, forget it, I don't need it.
Right.
That's not going to work so well.
Right. Yep.
And then your philosophy is that if we're taking care of ourselves, then those adventure opportunities fall into our lap.
Yes.
And I feel like you're implying, then we'll be more likely to say yes to them.
Yes.
So that's the biggie. That's the one thing that I wanted to kind of maybe wrap up on, is how do we recognize when these opportunities come and say yes? Because I think a lot of time, it's funny because we talk a lot, I think in general as women, about how we say yes too much to things. And we say yes to everybody.
Yes.
But then, yes. But we don't say yes to ourselves as often. I think a lot of times we say no to ourselves. We're like, yes to everybody else. And then when something comes along for us, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? How can we encourage the moms listening to say yes to the adventures, to recognize them when they come, and to start to try to say yes? Like, how can we get, especially for those who might be a little wary of what we're talking about, like, I'm not an adventurous person. How do I start? Yeah.
Right. That is a good question. Very good question. I guess what I would say is, if you find what you're trying to work on in your self-care to become a better person, which is what we're all striving for, right? Something, I feel like our opportunities will find a way. We'll hear about something, a conference, or maybe a speaking thing, or maybe a race, or maybe a retreat of some sort. And then I think it's saying, okay, is this something that's going to help me become better? And if it is, then what steps do you need to take to make it happen? Maybe it's you need to save money, put money away to afford something you want to do. Maybe it's find someone who can come and watch your children so that you can get away on your own to get better at something. But to me, I always say, if you plan to fail, you fail. No, did I say that right? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yes.
And to me, that works everywhere we go. So you have to make a plan. You have to make the first step. If you make that first step, then I think things will happen. You bring that good energy around you, and then things will happen. So to me, that's the first thing, is to start making a plan today of what it is you want to do to get better at, to become a better person.
I really appreciate how you define that, because I think that's really important, because we could just have people listening and thinking, okay, well now they're telling me to go say yes to everything. That's not what we're saying.
No.
You're saying, like, ask yourself, is this going to improve me? Is this going to lead me toward my long-term goal of who I want to be, or make me a better person in some way?
Right.
And if so, then say yes to it and start to make a plan. Like, you don't always, it's not always, like we said, going to just happen.
Yeah.
You got to make it happen.
Yes, you do. You have to put forth the first step, for sure.
Yeah. And along the way, you just might find that you are more adventurous than you thought you were.
Yes, absolutely.
It's funny because when I was young, I was known as the fun person. I was super fun. I was way outgoing. And I always just wanted to be doing stuff with my friends. And as I've gotten older and become more introverted, I think because I have so many kids and so many people that need me all the time, that I just feel like I'm constantly helping people. So I just want to be alone.
So now it's really fun when I get to go do things and remind myself, oh yeah, that old me is coming out. I can be fun and I can just kind of let loose and stuff.
Yeah.
So you just might find parts of yourself that you thought were lost forever if you push your limits a little bit.
Yep. I agree.
Any last words of wisdom you'd like to share?
Oh, I think I've shared a lot of my wisdom.
You have.
No, I think just try something new. Get out there and try it, and I don't think you'll regret it. And don't be afraid and don't feel guilty to put some effort into yourself, because to me, putting some effort into yourself will make you a better mother, wife, friend, sister, daughter, whatever.
Everything.
Yep.
Very well said.
Thank you.
That is great wisdom. And for everybody listening, excuse me, if you want more information, again, about the retreat we've been talking about here, tell them again where they can find it.
So you can go to zionponderosa.com/retreat.
zionponderosa.com/retreat. And even if you go to their main website, you can find links. And you do this twice a year as of right now.
Yep. Spring and fall. So and we're about half full for our fall retreat right now.
Awesome.
So,
Okay, so if you're thinking about it, go look into it now so you don't miss out, because it's really worth it. It was a great week.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mandy.
Thank you very much.
Wasn't that fun listening to all the different perspectives and opportunities that are out there for us to put some more adventure in our lives? I really hope that from today's show, what you take away is all that you can gain from seeking adventure in your life, from putting more of those new things, trying something different, pushing yourself in some way. And again, realizing that, if you're feeling uncomfortable or you feel like you're not good enough at something, that everybody is feeling that way too. And that's part of the adventure, is trying to overcome those insecurities. And through doing so, hopefully you also heard today, you can gain so much wisdom about yourself. You're going to gain a greater self-confidence, sense of self-worth. You're going to feel better about yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, socially. And you're going to have those relationships as well as, that mental and physical health that you desire in your life. So I hope you will get out there and say yes to adventure today. And until next time, I hope you'll also join us again on my website at drchristinahibbert.com to see the blog post related to this, or on our YouTube channel for the video related to this episode. And until next time, I hope you'll continue to grow through motherhood, and do so by putting some adventure in each and every day. And I will see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.